Never store these 9 foods in the refrigerator. Here's why. As a nutritionist, I understand that the refrigerator has long been considered the gatekeeper of family health. However, not all foods are suitable for storage in a cold environment. Many people unknowingly store foods incorrectly, causing the refrigerator, instead of protecting, to become a silent breeding ground for harmful bacteria. Some foods, when stored in the fridge, not only lose their nutrients, but can also develop toxins, bacteria, and even dangerous carcinogens like aflatoxin. A small mistake in storage can increase the risk of chronic diseases related to the liver, intestines, or immune system. Unfortunately, many of these foods are common and appear daily in our meals. Therefore, in this article, I will point out 9 types of foods that you should absolutely avoid storing in the refrigerator. It's better to throw them away than to expose your family to hidden dangers. Don't let today's convenience become the price of tomorrow's health. Coffee. The refrigerator is an ideal place to keep foods fresh for longer, but not everything is suitable for this cold and humid environment. Especially coffee, a sensitive ingredient that easily absorbs odors and moisture from the air. When you store coffee in the fridge, whether it's whole beans or ground coffee, it will come into contact with condensed water vapor. This invisible moisture is the #1 enemy that causes the coffee beans to deteriorate, mold, or lose their precious natural oils. Did you know that the flavor of coffee largely depends on its freshness and how it's stored? Once the oils evaporate or mold invades, the beans lose their rich, bold flavor. Instead of a fragrant cup of coffee to kickstart your day, you're left with a bitter, bland, lifeless drink. Not to mention, coffee can easily absorb the smells of other foods in the fridge, like fish, raw meat, or onions, making its flavor unpleasant and muddled. Many people still believe that the colder, the better, which is a common misconception. In reality, cold temperatures don't help coffee stay fresh longer. In fact, they speed up the flavor degradation process if not stored properly. So, how should you store coffee to maintain its best quality? The answer is simple. Store it at room temperature in an airtight container, away from light and high humidity. Dark glass jars or specialized containers are the ideal choices to protect each coffee bean from environmental damage. With this method, you'll notice a significant difference in each sip. It will be more aromatic, robust, and flavorful. Additionally, if you buy coffee in large quantities, instead of storing it all in the fridge, divide it into portions. The portion you're currently using should be kept in a dry place, while the unopened portion can be vacuum sealed and stored at room temperature. Absolutely avoid freezing or refrigerating it. Lastly, coffee is more than just a beverage. It's a habit, a lifestyle, and a personal moment for each individual. So, don't let bad storage habits ruin that experience. Start with the small things. Store your coffee properly so that every morning isn't just a sip of coffee, but a quality start to your entire day ahead. Potatoes. In the journey of maintaining health through nutrition, there's one thing I always emphasize to my patients and students. Safety doesn't just come from what we eat, but also from how we store our food. And potatoes, a common food in every kitchen, are one of the health traps, if not stored properly. Potatoes are considered a healthy source of carbohydrates, rich in vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. However, very few people know that with just one wrong step in storage, a potato dish can go from nutritious to harmful. One of the most common mistakes today is storing potatoes in the refrigerator to keep them fresh longer. At first glance, this may seem like a reasonable decision. But according to numerous studies, especially from leading food safety organizations, when potatoes are kept at too cold a temperature, such as in the refrigerator, the starch in the potatoes will abnormally break down into sugar. What happens next is really concerning. When you bake, fry, or roast these potatoes at high temperatures, The sugar combines with a naturally occurring amino acid called asparagine, creating a chemical compound called acrylamide, a substance that has been proven to cause cancer in both humans and animals in numerous experimental studies. What's troubling is that acrylamide is not something you can see with the naked eye or smell. It quietly exists in crispy French fries or the browned skin of roasted potatoes, things that seem harmless but pose long-term health risks, especially for children and the elderly. So, the first thing you need to change is how you store potatoes. Don't put them in the refrigerator. Instead, store them in a cool, dry, dark place, such as a cardboard box or a bamboo basket placed in the corner of your kitchen. Avoid direct sunlight and high humidity, as light can trigger sprouting, a sign that the toxic substance solanine has developed, which can cause poisoning if consumed. Additionally, avoid storing potatoes with onions or garlic, as the gases they emit can cause potatoes to spoil faster. If you notice that your potatoes are soft, turning brown, or have sprouted, it's best to discard them entirely rather than trying to cut off the bad parts and use the rest. Potatoes are a fantastic food, but only when you know how to treat them right. Don't let the convenience of the refrigerator become an excuse that threatens your family's health every day. Start with the simplest step. Store potatoes properly so that every dish is not only delicious, but truly safe. Watermelon. As a nutrition expert, I've witnessed many cases where well-meaning consumers unintentionally strip away the valuable nutritional content of food simply due to a misguided habit. Improper storage. One fruit that is often mistreated is watermelon, a sweet and refreshing fruit, especially loved in the summer, and also a rich source of natural antioxidants. Watermelon is more than just a refreshing dessert. In each juicy bite, there's a treasure trove of nutrients that many might not realize. This fruit is packed with vitamin C, along with powerful antioxidants like lycopene, zeaxanthin, and beta-carotene, natural shields that help the body fight free radicals, slow down cellular aging, and boost the immune system, which is particularly important during unpredictable weather changes or outbreaks of illness. However, there's one mistake that many people make. Right after purchasing it, they immediately put the watermelon in the refrigerator, thinking this will help it stay fresh longer. Unfortunately, this seemingly simple action silently reduces the nutritional value of the watermelon. Studies show that when watermelon is kept at room temperature before being cut, the process of synthesizing antioxidants like lycopene continues. But once you put it in the refrigerator, this process is almost interrupted. The cold not only diminishes its natural freshness, but also affects the structure of the cells, causing those valuable nutrients to significantly decrease. As a result, you're still eating the watermelon, but your body receives much fewer benefits than it could have. Additionally, storing watermelon in a cold environment makes the rind more vulnerable, increasing the potential for bacterial growth on its surface. This is particularly dangerous if you cut it without washing the outside rind, a common yet unsafe habit. So, what's the best way to store watermelon? The answer is simple. If it hasn't been cut, store it in a dry, cool, well-ventilated place, away from direct sunlight. Room temperature helps maintain its texture and natural sweetness while preserving its nutrients. Only after it's been cut should you place the remaining pieces in the refrigerator. And at this point, it's essential to wrap it tightly in plastic wrap or store it in an airtight container to prevent bacteria and cross-contamination. Watermelon is a wonderful natural gift, but if stored incorrectly, you lose most of its potential health benefits. Start by understanding the simple yet correct way to store it. So every time you enjoy it, it's not just the refreshing sweetness that's satisfying, but also the peace of mind knowing the health benefits you're getting into your body. Cooked vegetables. Green vegetables are often praised as an essential part of a healthy diet. They provide fiber, vitamins, minerals, and numerous plant compounds that are beneficial to the body. However, these nutritional values do not last forever after cooking. On the contrary, if not stored properly, especially when left overnight in the refrigerator, cooked vegetables can become a source of harmful toxins that few people realize. One of the dangerous substances that can easily form in cooked vegetables is nitrite, a product of the oxidation of nitrates found in vegetables when exposed to low temperatures for prolonged periods. The levels of nitrites are particularly high when vegetables are kept too long after cooking, especially if stored overnight in the refrigerator. This issue becomes even more concerning since the World Health Organization, WHO, has classified nitrites as a potential carcinogen if accumulated in the body over time. What's even more alarming is that nitrites are not easily detected through normal sensory perception. The taste, color, or shape of stir-fried or boiled vegetables that have been left overnight may not show any noticeable changes. As a result, many people casually reheat and eat them without realizing that they are ingesting a latent toxin, something that can increase the risk of serious digestive issues and even stomach cancer. Therefore, one golden rule I always advise is, eat vegetables as soon as possible after cooking, ideally within 4 hours. This is especially important during the summer, a time when bacteria thrive, and eating leftover vegetables stored overnight should be absolutely avoided. The habit of reheating old vegetables may seem harmless, but it cannot fully eliminate the toxins that have already been altered, and sometimes it can even make them more dangerous. If, for unavoidable reasons, you must store leftover vegetables, make sure they are kept in a clean, airtight container and placed in the refrigerator as soon as the vegetables cool down. However, even under these ideal conditions, you should only consume them within 8 to 10 hours, and make sure they are reheated thoroughly before eating. We cannot control every harmful factor in life, but being proactive with each meal and how we store food is completely within our control. Green vegetables are a natural gift for health, but they can also become a hazard if we don't understand and handle them correctly. Start today. Eat enough, eat right, and most importantly, eat at the right time. Because eating clean doesn't always mean eating healthy. Honey. Throughout my journey of advising and supporting families in developing healthy eating habits, I've realized that many people have misconceptions about food storage, especially when it comes to ingredients that seem almost indestructible in terms of preservation, like honey. Honey has long been considered a natural remedy due to its rich nutrient content, antibacterial properties, antioxidant effects, and ability to support immune health. However, in order for these benefits to be fully realized, proper storage is key. Unfortunately, one common yet incorrect habit that many families continue is refrigerating honey. Many people believe that storing honey in the fridge will help it last longer and prevent spoilage or contamination. However, in reality, honey is one of the few foods that has virtually no expiration date when stored properly. When you place a jar of honey in the refrigerator, where temperatures are typically below 64 degrees, 18 degrees, what happens is that honey begins to crystallize, a process known as sugar granulation. The honey becomes thick and loses its smooth liquid consistency, making it harder to use. More importantly, this process can alter the natural structure and flavor of the honey, affecting both the experience and the nutritional value inside. To make matters worse, crystallization can lead some people to mistakenly believe that the honey has gone bad, and they may throw it away unnecessarily. In fact, if honey is stored properly at room temperature in an airtight container, away from direct light, it can last anywhere from 1 to 2 years, or even longer, without spoiling or losing nutritional value. What makes honey so durable is its natural antibacterial properties and high sugar content, which significantly inhibit the growth of microorganisms. Honey is almost an inhospitable environment for bacteria, which is why there's no need, and it's not recommended, to refrigerate it. So, my advice to homemakers and anyone who enjoys using honey in their daily diet is, store it in a cool, dry place. You can keep it in a kitchen cabinet or in a shelf that's shielded from light, as long as it's kept away from heat sources and high humidity. If the honey crystallizes slightly due to changes in temperature, simply place the jar in warm water, around 104 degrees to 122 degrees, or 40 degrees in to 50 degrees in, and stir gently. This will return the honey to its original state. With honey, a precious gift from nature, proper understanding of storage not only saves you money, but also ensures that the full nutritional value is preserved for the whole family. Cracked eggs. Many people still hold on to the habit of being frugal, thinking that as long as the yolk and white haven't leaked out, the egg can still be used as usual. However, in reality, this practice can pose a much greater risk than the nutritional value it might provide. Did you know that eggshells are not sterile? While invisible to the naked eye, the surface of the shell always carries a certain amount of bacteria, with the most dangerous being Salmonella, a bacteria that can cause severe food poisoning, particularly dangerous to young children, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems. When an egg cracks, the natural protective membrane between the inside and the outside environment becomes nearly ineffective. Bacteria from the shell can easily penetrate inside, contaminating the egg white and yolk. The situation worsens if you store a cracked egg in the refrigerator. In a moist, enclosed environment, bacteria not only multiply inside the egg, but can also spread to other foods around it, causing cross-contamination. Just one spoiled egg can contaminate the entire refrigerator, turning what should be a food-safe storage space into a breeding ground for harmful bacteria. My advice is simple but important. If you discover a cracked egg when you bring it home, it's best to discard it. Don't risk the health of your entire family for the sake of saving a few cents. Sweet potatoes. In the quest for healthy and nutrient-rich foods, sweet potatoes are highly valued for their ability to support digestion, regulate blood sugar levels, and provide a wealth of antioxidants. However, an unfortunate reality is that, despite being a common part of daily meals, many people still do not fully understand how to properly store them to preserve their nutritional value. Many believe that putting sweet potatoes in the refrigerator will extend their shelf life and prevent sprouting. However, this is not suitable for the natural characteristics of sweet potatoes. The low temperature in the fridge can alter the structure of the starch, causing the potatoes to become hard, dry, and lose their natural sweetness, which is the most appealing aspect of this dish. In addition to changes in flavor and texture, when stored in cold conditions, sweet potatoes can also become discolored, with black spots appearing inside the flesh, indicating that they have been damaged and are beginning to lose their nutritional benefits. This is especially likely to happen if the potatoes are kept too long in the fridge or in conditions that are not dry enough. So, what is the optimal way to store sweet potatoes? It's simple. Just keep them in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, away from direct sunlight and extreme temperatures, both hot and cold. A clean corner of your kitchen or a basket in the pantry is the perfect choice. With this method, sweet potatoes not only stay fresh longer, but also retain their full nutritional value and flavor. Remember, eating clean is not enough. You also need to store your food properly. Each small sweet potato, when cared for correctly, can contribute to nourishing the health of your entire family. Bread. Bread is a staple food in daily meals, from quick breakfasts to delicious snacks. However, despite being easy to eat and convenient, few people realize that improper storage can not only cause bread to lose its flavor, but also impact our health. One common mistake many people still make is storing bread in the refrigerator. When you put bread in the fridge, the first thing you'll notice is that it becomes dry, hard, and no longer soft like when it was freshly bought. This happens because, at low temperatures, the starches in the bread begin to change their structure. This process, known as retrogradation, causes the bread to lose its natural moisture and become drier and firmer. So, while the bread remains safe from a food safety perspective, its flavor and texture will not be what you expect. In addition to this, one problem many don't realize when storing bread in the fridge is that it absorbs moisture and air from the cold environment. This not only causes the bread to dry out, but also creates a favorable condition for mold to grow. In the humid environment of the refrigerator, bacteria and mold can develop quickly on the surface of the bread, especially if it's not tightly sealed. This not only spoils the bread, but could also affect your health if you accidentally consume it. So, how should you store bread properly while keeping it fresh? The answer is simple. Store bread at room temperature for the first few days. A dry, cool, and well-ventilated area will help the bread maintain its softness and prevent it from drying out or becoming stale. If you can't use all the bread right away, a great way to store it long-term is by wrapping it tightly in a plastic bag or airtight container and freezing it. When you need it, simply thaw it out and enjoy hot, fresh bread just like when it was first bought. Additionally, if you regularly buy bread and can't consume it within a short period, consider choosing bread with a longer shelf life or dividing it into smaller portions for storage. Although bread is a common food, it has a unique storage method. To ensure your health and that of your family, remember that bread is best enjoyed the day it's baked, or within a few days of purchase. And don't forget, proper storage will allow you to enjoy bread without worrying about its quality or potential health risks. Understanding the correct way to store bread will help you not only save money, but also protect your health. Don't let improper storage habits ruin the flavor and quality of your favorite food. Bananas. Bananas are among the most loved fruits in the world, thanks to their sweet flavor and numerous health benefits. However, not everyone knows the proper way to store bananas to keep their nutrients and delicious flavor intact. One common mistake many families make is putting bananas in the refrigerator. This action may seem harmless, but in reality, it can cause bananas to lose their nutrients and alter both their flavor and texture. When bananas are not fully ripe and are placed in the fridge, you will notice that they will stop ripening. The reason for this is that the low temperature in the fridge halts the natural ripening process. As bananas ripen, enzymes in the fruit begin to break down starch into sugar, giving them their characteristic sweetness. However, if the bananas are unripe and chilled, this process is interrupted, preventing the bananas from fully developing as they should. Additionally, another issue that arises is that the bananas will quickly turn black. When storing unripe bananas in the refrigerator, the structure of the banana cells is affected, causing the fruit to lose moisture and become mushy, soft, and even start to rot. This not only ruins the flavor, but also leads to waste when you end up discarding a banana that could have been enjoyed if stored properly. So, what about ripe bananas? Don't worry, fully ripe bananas can be stored in the refrigerator without fear of spoiling. When bananas are fully ripe, you can safely place them in the fridge, and the cold temperature will help preserve them longer without diminishing their quality. However, it's important to note that bananas stored in the fridge may change the color of their peel. The skin may turn black, but this does not affect the quality of the inside. As long as the flesh remains yellow and retains its sweetness, you can still enjoy the banana as usual. A small tip: if the bananas have ripened and you can't eat them right away, the refrigerator is the best solution to extend their shelf life. For those who love smoothies, bananas are an essential ingredient due to their natural sweetness and excellent smooth texture when blended. If you want to store bananas longer for smoothies or other desserts, you can slice them and freeze them. This will help preserve their nutrients and prevent the loss of flavor when used. Bananas are an easy-to-use fruit that provides many health benefits, but understanding how to store them properly will help you maximize the nutritional value they offer. Don't let improper storage habits diminish the benefits of such a great food like bananas. I hope today's tips have helped you realize the mistakes you might be making when storing food and how to protect your health and that of your family. Don't let these bad storage habits become a silent danger in your fridge. Be sure to follow the channel for more useful knowledge about nutrition and health every day, helping you build a healthy and energetic life. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Important nutrition tips to help you live well every day. Let's take care of our health from the smallest habits.